Want some? Get some. Can I get a hell yeah? Yes, I am a pirate. You have to go with the pirates because, of course, they have cannons and everything. It's a pirate's life for me. Be proud of who you are and what you are. You're pirate.
It is a first down. Pirates.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
I think I've ever been in a building as loud as that was. It was deafening in there.
You live with Omaha? I can promise you that. And a crumple all night long in Eastern North Carolina.
You're watching The Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.
My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down of my soul, and I don't back down not at all. Find out when the cannons explode.
All right, welcome into the Sports Objective on Deck. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm Dave Richmond along with Kyle from LaGrange Barber. How are you, man?
Cool, Dave. You ever wonder if people that don't know the backstory wonder why we have that East Carolina Wake Forest scoreboard and two highlights from that game with Matt as our intro? I wonder if people ever wonder what the story is with that.
The fact that you don't have a copy of that game?
Yeah, as Matt played in that game. It was, one of his victories over an ACC opponent. But then, that's one of my favorite. It's just Corey, is a weird fact that's one of my favorite games in ECU history. It was the first time I saw an ACC. Well, I didn't see it. I wasn't at the game, and I didn't have Fox Sports South, which is what it aired on at the time. And I listened to that game. We were down 21 points. We came back and beat Wake Forest. First time we had hosted an ACC opponent in Greenville. It was in '97 since 1960-something. First time in my lifetime. But I've never seen the game. I listened to it on the radio. I couldn't be there that day. And like I said, I didn't have Fox Sports South. So it's been this quest for me over the last 30-some years, or 29 years, I guess, to get a copy of that game. And apparently not a soul alive has a copy of that game.
I do not either. I cannot.
Well, I didn't expect you to, Corey. But ask around in the broadcasting world, see if you can find me a copy.
Yeah, it's definitely it's like the hidden text from Homer finding this particular archive.
It really is.
My friend.
This is like the VHS Holy Grail, kind of like what is the most famous Pokemon card? This will be.
I'll get my friend on the phone and she can tell you. She's a Pokemon
freak. Off the top of my head, I'll have to ask Alex or Mackenzie, but.
Well, I mean, anyway. the most famous Pokemon character is obviously Pikachu.
Jake Paul has one.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway,
I know what you're talking about.
I can't think of. Anyway, I was trying to make that. Anyway, it's a very rare game that Kyle wants. But once, Corey, you know how it goes. Once he gets it, it won't be a big deal. It's a big deal now.
No, it'll be a big deal. Believe me. If I ever get a copy of that game, I really don't think anybody has it. I really don't. I even asked on a Wake Forest board one time and got cussed out because they thought I was trolling them. Because it was the game they lost from '97. I was like, I'm genuinely just trying to find the game.
When you eventually find it, you have to do like a watch along, like a live show.
Oh, well, I don't really. I swear to God, I don't think I'm going to find it. With all the '90s players I've asked, and I still haven't come across it because you would think their parents recorded their games. I'm sure somebody's mom or daddy has that game that played at East Carolina in '97.
Alan, do you have that game? You have.
I do not, but I would suggest maybe reaching out to Fox Sports and just.
I'll tell you who you don't reach out to, and that's our friends at East Carolina University.
They don't have
who don't have a damn thing archived. And I've told this story before. Meador had to come to me. Well, he didn't have to come to me. He got out there that he was looking for copies of a couple of games during COVID. And I got in touch with him and said, I got those games. And he had to come to my house and download them to his laptop because ECU didn't have copies of them.
Yeah, I've got copies of things going back quite a ways, but I do not have the '97 Wake Forest. But
we'll have to talk, Alan, see what you do have that I might want. Maybe we can make some trading.
Hey, I'd be glad to make you copies of whatever you might need.
Yeah, we can have VHS. We can have a VHS party.
I'll take it on VHS or DVD. I still have both.
Yeah, when I got a DVD recorder back in 2003, I made copies of some things.
I
Oh,
did
yeah.
that too. I transferred a lot of my VHS over to DVD, but I still have the VHS copies. Hey, maybe we should introduce the rest of our guests. We got Alan Vick and we got Johnny Stats Robertson, but we need to go ahead and welcome in the legendary former voice of the East Carolina Pirate baseball team, now the voice for the Tulane Green Wave for how many years now, Corey?
This is my 5th year here.
Year number 5, the one and only Squidward himself, Corey Gloor.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me back. I know this was Dave, you almost missed me. We chatted earlier today. Shockingly, I'm still wanted to chat with folks in Greenville whenever East Carolina and Tulane cross paths in sports. And so a lot of folks have been hitting me up here over the next 48 hours. And Dave, you were the last one, but you were the only one that said, what about Wednesday night? And so here we are. You're first out the gate for me, and what will be a bit of a car wash for me back in Greenville tomorrow. And thank you for making me feel young here, boys, because I've spent a lot of time around 18 to 23-year-old kids, and you talking about VHS tapes and all that crap. Boy, it's been a while since I felt like young. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, that was my very first game covering the Pirates at the stadium in '97 was the Wake Forest game. So I would like to see it again myself. I vaguely remember it. And that's when the fourth quarter, I still get antsy because, as Alan knows, because that's when I had to go and get the Morants, speaking of cassettes, and go to the locker room, it had a Bob Barker mic with the Morants. And then I had to go back up to the top of the press box where we're doing our Piggly Wiggly post-game scoreboard to play the press conference and players' reaction. So that was the very first time I had to do that. So not that anybody cares. Let's talk baseball. We'll talk about VHS or any kind of cassettes later on. But let's see. We got Don here. It says, Corey, it was great when EC visited Washington baseball.
Oh God, what year was that?
Washington.
I couldn't tell you what year it was. It was a 3-game series.
We played at Washington.
Yeah, early on in my.
I do not remember that.
There,
I may have to back out and go get the press guide.
Yeah, Tulane's been to Washington too, and so I think my mind is kind of slamming the journeys together here. But I do remember going to Washington for a 3-game series with East Carolina. I could not tell you the year, however.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, I have no recollection of that, but that's all right. I don't remember everything.
I remember seeing Mount Rainier in the backdrop of that ballpark, and then when I went with Tulane in 23, it was cloudy and I couldn't see it, and it really bummed me out. But then Tulane won like by 8, so that made me happier.
Was that April? It looks like April of 2018.
Yeah,
April 7th was the last matchup.
I should have remembered that.
Yeah, Alan, I think you're probably running late night game for at least one of those. I think there might have been a double header in there.
Yeah.
Might have been a double header on a Saturday, I think, because I think the plan was to play 2 on Saturday and travel back on Sunday. We did that with UCLA, I think, was similar with the series like that. Yeah. I mean, my brain is creaking right now in terms of just memories and haziness, but I got fragments.
Well, Corey, you're so young, you should be able to remember it.
No, I said I feel young. I didn't say I am.
Okay. All right, I got you. It's a delusional feeling.
Yes.
Corey, so Tulane this year, basically, you guys, the Green Wave have done well in the tournament despite their performance in the regular season so far. And maybe I should just not talk. The Green Wave has done well recently in the postseason American Conference tournament despite their performance in the regular season. Also, the Pirates have not played well in New Orleans despite having good squads. Just quickly, tell us about Tulane overall so far this year.
Up and down. I mean, the record is 17-17. That should pretty much just tell you on the surface that consistency has been extremely hard to find for this group. Jay Ullman in his 4th year. There have been some real bright spots as the year has gone, particularly the relief pitching, which has been the strength of this group. It's very deep, and that's the deepest probably the relief pitching has gone that Jay Ullman has had in his time here. Getting length out of starting pitching has been a challenge. It got better last weekend at Wichita State. Had a couple of guys go pitch into the 6th, one pitch into the 7th. And that's been few and far between this year. And Tulane will need that moving forward because eventually you don't want to keep running the bullpen out there for 6 innings a day because it will start running out of steam, even though there's more options down there than what we've seen in the last couple of years. The offense has been the confounding one. The lineup, I think they thought, and I thought, would be the strength of this team, and it has been way up and down. It's the 2nd worst hitting team in the league. They get on base a ton by drawing walks, by getting hit, but they're 9th in batting, and that has just not been a nut that's been easily cracked here. They're starting to get some flashes from some of their transfer bats that, one guy has been pretty regular in Ty Wood, switch hitting outfielder. He's been pretty solid all year, but now starting to get a few more pieces showing some things that I think they were hoping to get back in March. But it's still been a real issue, and it's been costly at times. This team has won their low-scoring games, and that has been the recipe right now as we get deeper into the year, as the temperature gets warmer, and as pitching starts to wear down across the league, and certainly with what Clearwater brings and the type of tournament that usually is, that the Tulane bats will need to start coming around here, because I think this has been a pretty surprising element of the team. Jay Ullman, I would have been very surprised if he thought that this would be the 2nd worst hitting team in the league, with only Rice faring worse right now because of just the talent that they brought back from last year and some of the bats they brought in the transfer portal. This should be a better offense than what it's been so far this year.
Yeah. Hey, Corey, speaking of, you said that the lower, you have to keep them low scores to win. Here's a weird stat. In the last 28 games, Tulane is 13-15. Okay, if you just take the first 2 innings, Tulane pitching has an ERA of 0.346. They only allowed 1 earned run in those 13 wins in the first 2 innings. But in the 15 losses, you have an ERA of 12. You've allowed 40 runs in 30 innings. So it seems like after 2 innings so far, whoever's been leading after two innings is 24-1 over that span. So it's like,
wow,
early what way the games are going normally.
The innings in which Tulane gives up the most runs this year are the first 3. The first inning is the most, then the second, then the third, in that order. And that speaks to what the challenge has been with the starting pitching and getting effective length out of the rotation. Now, some of that gets exacerbated with midweek games, and these are going to be quick starts. But right now, the starting pitching is averaging just under 4 innings an outing, and that's an increase from where it was even a couple weeks ago. And so that you're bang on, Johnny. Like, that has been a major problem here for Tulane. And right now, the lineup is just not in the spot it needs to be in to play late game catch up, even though the bullpen's been so good at holding teams around when first inning runs go up. Last night, Tulane lost at Lamar, gave up a run in the first. Tulane was actually answering, had a lead into the 6th, and then the bullpen started to leak oil and gave it up, and the bats just couldn't fire back up. And so Tulane plays so well from in front when they went 3-1 last week, and what was maybe their best week of the year, just with how they played. They scored in the first inning in all 3 of their wins, and they held those leads. And so that's been, it's not that cut and dry. It never is in this sport, Johnny, but you hit one of the nails on the head. Just the Tulane starting pitching needs to make some strides forward, getting deeper into games and being effective in doing it.
Yeah. Hey, well, I had another question about the lineup. So last preseason, I did a preview video, and for Tulane, I had them in the upper 3 teams, which nobody else agreed with me on. And now I'm starting to not look so smart. But here was my thinking, Corey. I looked at the box score from the conference final game against ECU. They're bringing back the catcher, the first baseman, the shortstop, the third baseman, the center fielder, the right fielder. And then I thought players would step up. Like, is Tanner Chun? Is he all right? Like, I mean, he is batting 200. He's going the opposite way. I thought he would increase. I think he batted 260 last year or something. I thought he would be much more effective offensively. And the same for James. I'm going to botch his name, but James Agapitis.
You got it. Yeah.
Okay. He batted 104. Oh, he's batting 104. He batted 260 last year. I thought he'd get better this year. And he has 5 hits. 3 of them are home runs.
Yeah.
So what's going on with him?
5 of his last 8 hits are homers because he homered twice in the tournament last year against UTSA in the semifinal. And now, that he is really fighting it here in his senior year. Tanner Chun's an interesting one. You know, he always had a bit of swing and miss in him last year as a true freshman. The breaking stuff would get him. That hasn't alleviated much here this year. He's getting on base a ton. Like, he leads the league in walks. He leads the league in getting hit. He is top 8, I think, in on base, but his batting is 200. And so that's been one of the head scratchers, I think, for Jay Ullman is he is getting on. He was batting second most of the year, but he was coming up in spots where he needed to put the ball in play and just hasn't been able to. So now he's been hitting 9th, where the feeling is that he can at least extend innings if things are going south in front of him a little bit with the lineup, or he can try and just work good at bats for the next time through the order, and maybe draw a walk. And so one of the things here, again, it's not this cut and dry. You mentioned James Agapitis. He's playing a lot here right now in spite of the struggles at the plate because he's been so good with the glove. And he's kind of held down now third base the last couple of weeks. Matthias Haas is the outfielder that you kind of alluded to, that also played first base, 7th-year guy. He got benched for a couple of weeks because he was really struggling defensively. We've seen some good things from him the last couple of weeks or so. These guys need to really look like what we saw from last year from this group. And there are pieces that aren't in that lineup that were around them last year. Connor Rasmussen, Gavin Schultz, which are just major pieces of the puzzle. But you still have a Jason Wax, who has been the star of the team. I mean, the results and record will dictate a lot of this here, but there's a player of the year case to be made with Jason Wax right now. He's on a 60-game on base streak, which is insanity.
That's ridiculous.
And he's also dealing with a little bit of a bum hip. He's been doing it with the offseason, and he's just a complete rock in the middle of the order right now. Kaikea Harrison at shortstop has been up and down. He's hit leadoff all year. And he has had, he's in a bit of a down stretch right now, but he can hit the cover off the ball. Hugh Pinckney is the catcher. He's kind of split time with a new catcher and Johnny Elliott. Getting those two on the same page has shown better signs of late. Right-handed batters, Tulane actually needs kind of the right-handers to step up. Haas is one. Tanner Chun is another. Nolan Naraki is a transfer that Tulane was hoping would be in the outfielder at third base. He's been hurt a lot of the year. He just got back on the field last night, and they're hoping that he can not just stay healthy, but actually be something in the middle of this order because they thought he'd provide some punch here, and he just hasn't when he was healthy. The right-handers have struggled this year, and Tulane has struggled against left-handed pitching. And again, that's not a one-to-one, but you can kind of see a little bit eye to eye as to why those struggles against left-handed pitching might have some of a cause to the right-handed hitters not being as strong as we thought they'd be.
Hey, Corey, I had one quick question about pitching. I found it was weird that you all had Eastern Kentucky on the schedule since you had 2 players transfer from Eastern Kentucky. So I checked it out to see what AJ and Aiden Rath would do. And then I looked, and he hadn't pitched since like the first week of the season. He pitched 1 scoreless inning and hasn't pitched since. Is he on the IR or something?
Yeah, those guys are both hurt. And So Aiden Rath is the pitcher. He was dealing with an elbow thing, and he gave it a go in the Harvard series, and it's been kind of shut down since. They're still optimistic he'll show up here in the back half of the year, because if he is up there and healthy, he's the fastest guy on the team in terms of velocity. He can touch 99. And then AJ Grunewald is the other guy you're talking about. He was a starting second baseman up until the TCU series, in which he dove for a ball and tore his labrum. So he's out for the year. And so Tulane has dealt with some injuries here as well. Those two guys, mentioned Nolan Naraki a little bit here as well. Tulane lost their catcher and Johnny Elliott for about a week and a half due to a concussion. They've been banged up a little bit here. And so that's been part of it. The Eastern Kentucky weekend, that was ironically on the books before the transfers came down, and Tulane's new hitting coach this year, Walt Jones, was the head coach at EKU last year. So, I mean, that was actually in agreement before all of that even happened.
That's nuts.
Interesting.
That is so. Corey, we did want to ask you, as far as things in New Orleans, how are things been for you, man, while we have a chance? Because I know you've been enjoying it a lot, and we talked about many times we want you back, but we know you're going to stay because there's so much to do in New Orleans, and how much you love Tulane.
Things are great. I mean, it's been a blast to be at this place and live in this city. Was getting work done outside at 75 degrees for this series earlier on today. I mean, there's no city like this in the world, and to kind of be a part of it with now a whole bunch. We just kind of came off of Mardi Gras. It's been about a month, I would say, maybe a little bit, almost 2 months now. And that is always just such an amazing time of year here. And now we got festivals starting up, weather's warming up. Now we keep fingers crossed that hurricane season will not do us harm. But no, I mean, this place is awesome. Like, it's just awesome. And Tulane's been great. And I've been very fortunate to work with awesome people there and call some amazing moments in Tulane sports history. So this has been a dream.
Corey, during midweek, you know, everybody plays regional games, and with East Carolina, you get the Dukes and the UNCs and the NC States and the Campbells, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, who are some of the fun midweek matchups you guys see down at Tulane? I'm sure it's probably SEC and Sun Belt heavy.
Yeah, I mean, those are kind of the headliners. We play a lot of Southland teams. Like, we got New Orleans, obviously, in town here. We always play at least a home and home with them. Southeastern Louisiana is coming in next week. Nichols is not far from here. We just made the 4-hour drive to Lamar yesterday, which is as furthest as we'll go for a bus trip in a midweek, to say the least. But the major ones, we've got LSU on the books coming up at the first week of May. I think it's first week of May. Yeah. We have a home and home with Southern Miss. That is always that's always one of the favorite rivalries with these two schools. We're 90 minutes apart from each other. When the Ragin' Cajuns of UL are on the schedule, that gets some people really fired up. They weren't on the schedule this year. Drove out to Biloxi to play Mississippi State for a game this year, so getting them on the schedule was fun. So yeah, there are some very fun midweek matchups that Tulane gets to take part in, and there's still a couple more on the horizon here.
Yeah, midweek baseball's so fun because it's always high scoring. It's always regional rivals. Midweek baseball's the best.
Well, Court, what about basketball? You all had Tougaloo.
What about basketball?
Well, they scheduled Tougaloo, which was a new one on me. I'd never heard of that. I know it's in Mississippi, but was that like a one-time? Have y'all ever played Tougaloo before? Am I even saying it correctly?
You're saying it right. Not in my time have we played Tougaloo up until this past year. I guess what I'd say with that is I would imagine it's somewhat similar with Mike Schwartz's program and with a lot of programs within the American. This drum was beat pretty hard as we got close to the tournament, and a lot of people were zeroing in on Miami of Ohio. Tulane tried their dangdest to put together a pretty decent non-conference schedule in terms of names and power programs, and were pretty much rebuffed at every turn. And so they had to build a schedule, and Tougaloo was someone that they had to slot in to fill a void. And so that's where that came from. Did Tulane necessarily want to play Tougaloo? No. Would they have loved to have put some bigger, more interesting names on the schedule there? Yes. You need two to tango, and that is the situation that Tulane ran into for basketball.
Well, that's a very interesting name, though, in my opinion.
Yeah. We do have a question from Kenny. Corey, we know you're busy down there, but do you keep up with the Pirates in the pros, baseball, and football?
A little bit, like just kind of cursory glances. I know, what was it, 6 on opening day rosters is, I think, the number that I saw.
Right.
And so that's cool. And I think 4 of them were from when I was in that booth. And so, I was getting down to research here today. And I saw Jake Agnos' name pop up on the staff directory for baseball this year. And I think I saw it back when it happened, but I totally forgot that he was kind of hanging around the program again. I don't know if he'll be on the trip, but I know what his brother's doing with Colorado and what Alex doing with St. Louis, Gavin, of course, with Cleveland. So, and Connor now at Miami, of course, we're going to see his brother Friday. And so to see these guys turn into what they've become and be, not just be on these teams, but like major fixtures of how these teams are trying to win games is pretty cool to see. Football, I had no interaction with football, bluntly, when I was at East Carolina. So I got nothing for you on that one.
Yeah, when you were at East Carolina, you wouldn't wanted to have any interaction with. What years were you here, Corey? 16 to what?
No, yeah, 16 to 20.
16 to 21.
21.
Okay, well, some of those years were okay. Getting to be okay.
It's definitely a lot better than the last year Corey was here. But certainly with the baseball diamond, Corey, as far as American, what you've seen, how many teams do you think, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but will make a regional? A lot of baseball left, but just putting you on the spot, I know.
I mean, I think it's the best this league has looked in a little bit. I think it's almost across the board, save for Memphis. And we saw them in the first weekend of the year. That team has a good amount of talent, and it's just a weird mix. Like I don't know, I don't know why that hasn't fit there in Memphis this year. Their struggles shouldn't be like they've got 10 wins on the year, I think, and that's not a 10-win team. That has the talent to be something better. And so I just think if you look at Memphis as right now the bottom of the league in totality, even though they're not sitting last in the record, this league's deeper than I think it's been in a couple of years. Yeah. It screams multiple bids right now. Everyone's going to beat each other up at this stage. That's the issue here with the league. But with East Carolina's RPI where it is, that's at large territory with UTSA in their spot and having a series over East Carolina already. They're in good spot. They're also back on the fringe of top 25 discussion, if you really want to put much credence in that. I mean, the shock's UAB, obviously, and they took it to us in Birmingham. I know ECU grabbed the series off of them. That team can hit. I mean, they really can hit the ball. And for them to they took the series in South Florida, I think was what they did last week. I mean, it's just like that. Yeah, they swept FAU. I'm sorry, they swept FAU. Their RPI is in the upper 30s right now. And so will that sustain? They had a chance to beat Mississippi State last night and they weren't able to. I don't know. I can say it's definitely the best UAB team I've seen in their 3 years in this league. And then you add in a South Florida, which probably the most well-funded team in the league. And they've got the most wins overall. So I think there's we've had 2 bids the last couple of years, regular season champion and whomever's won Clearwater. I think there's a crack at 3. Now the conference tournament format is different this year, and it does skew towards whoever finishes in the top 2. And so it's going to be trickier for a Tulane to make a run as a 7 seed like they did in 2023, or East Carolina as a 6 seed last year. Like to make that run, it's going to be harder for teams in the bottom to try and charge through Clearwater. But if you got a team sitting 4th and they got to just win the normal double elimination bracket that wasn't in the mix before, and they win Clearwater, you could see 3 bids. Like if this keeps on this trajectory here, obviously something weird will happen. Someone's going to throw a wrench somewhere. Florida Atlantic might suddenly get hot and derail people's seasons. But right now, it's not where it was when UConn was bumming around here, or a Houston or a UCF, but it's trending in a better direction, which is, it's good to talk about the American as a league that could feasibly get multiple at-large bids if the committee is watching what's happening here. And that's all.
Gilbert's on the committee, for what that's worth. No, if you look at things, from East Carolina standpoint, our RPI, our strength of schedule 16th. Our RPI, Warren Nolan, as of last night, I hadn't checked it. After 28 as of when I checked it last night. So I mean, if we keep winning, and we got some pitching issues, a lot of injuries, but our bats are red hot. Is it sustainable with the bats? We're going to get some pitchers back towards the end of the year. If we keep winning, and I don't mean we have to do what we've done over the last 5 games, but just going 2-2, 3-1 type weeks, we'll be fine. I think UTSA is kind of in the same boat. I think UAB is the wild card. Are they going to keep doing what they're doing? I think they're going to have, because of where I know their RPI is up to the 30s now, but they're going to have to keep winning at a high level to get in an at-large. They're not going to. I think they're going to need to win the regular season title to get an at-large spot.
And I don't know if that's realistic with that group. They do have some pitching issues, that they're not very deep in the relief corps. They have some flamethrowers back there, but they don't have a ton of them. And their Friday guy's a stud. But that lineup will keep them around in a lot of games if their pitching starts to let them down. They need to pick off that. They beat Florida on opening day. Now Florida has dropped out of top 25 rankings and all that sort of stuff, but that was like that was interesting sort of thing right on the first day of the year. They haven't had another one of those types of wins. That they could have had one last night in Starkville, and they just weren't able to finish it off. They got an Auburn and Alabama still on their schedule in midweek play, and if they can pick off one of those, then they're in a decent spot. They have UTSA on the schedule still. I don't know if it's in Birmingham or San Antonio.
It's San Antonio the final week.
Yeah, and that with how that ballpark plays and how UAB mashes the ball, along with how the Roadrunners do, that could be a pretty explosive series. And it could have a lot in play if UAB can keep up what they've been doing here. It's good to see from that program, which there was a lot of question about Casey Dunn after last year when they missed the tournament. And now here they are sitting alone at the top right now with albeit 5 weekends left. And so having them jump up like this, at least right now, is only good for the league. We'll see if they can sustain it. I think it's not necessarily a question of do they have all the talent they need to sustain it, but it's more of, do we believe a UAB can sustain it? I think that's going to be the thing we're going to try and wrap our heads around here, because we haven't seen this from UAB, certainly since they've joined the league, but even when they were in Conference USA.
You speak of that, you talk about the league being better, and, it's UTSA, East Carolina as always, UAB, stepping up, FAU's competitive South Florida. But if you asked me when, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you look at this league, that's going to be a great baseball league. East Carolina, Tulane, Wichita State, Rice. And it's funny, the teams that are stepping up outside of East Carolina aren't the ones with the baseball lineage.
Yeah, I mean, I would say UTSA had a little bit of one. It was pretty brief, but they've had one. I would even throw Florida Atlantic into that. Like, that's been a really solid program for a lot of the 2000s and 2010s. And they have, I don't know where they are funding wise, to be honest, in terms of helping out that roster. They play in a bastion of talent, and John McCormick's been doing it for a long, long time. Their 2-7 record is a little befuddling to me. And we see them next week, and so I'll get my eyes on them up close and personal here. But even they're not that far removed from being in tournaments regularly, and so. A UAB and a UTSA being at the top of the league right now, with South Florida nipping in that area too. It's interesting. Yeah, the historically prominent programs in this current league, they're elbowing for space. No doubt about it. We just saw Wichita over the weekend, and now we see East Carolina coming up this weekend, and Tulane's definitely in that mix. And Rice is trying to turn things around with David Pierce leading the way. So we'll see. At this day and age, it all depends on what the investment is in the program, straight up. And if you're not getting a ton of investment, how good are you at finding the diamonds in the rough you need to find to build out your rosters?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, wanted to mention, Kenny asked this question earlier. Nice segue. He wants to know, how is Tulane handling the portal and NIL?
I mean, I think for that first part, Tulane has a total of 4 true freshmen on this year's team, and it's over half the roster is new. So it's a transfer portal type roster now for this group. Now, the 4 freshmen are all position players. They try to go old and veteran with the pitchers that they brought in. They needed to rework the pitching staff here. Lost the Friday guy in the transfer portal, and then 2 best relievers, Michael Lombardi and Taylor Montiel, were drafted. And so there was some real overhaul that needed there. And they opted to go with guys that have had reps at college level, and a good amount of them. And that speaks to why the Tulane relief corps has been so successful this year, is that these guys have been around the block for a little bit. They didn't go young in the pitching staff like they had in the past. In terms of NIL, I mean, Tulane's been pretty strong with this. Now, where they fall in baseball, I couldn't tell you. I know South Florida throws money at everything, and I think they're the top funded program in the league right now. Outside of maybe football and basketball, they are the most well-funded programs in the American across the board. And so I feel pretty confident saying they've got their fair share of NIL there. I don't know where UTSA has now crept in with their run last year and what they were able to get funding-wise for that roster, but they brought a lot of that team back. I know Tulane has been pretty much on the forefront of this since it started years ago, and that speaks to why Tulane baseball has not just made runs here in Clearwater the last couple of years with the talent they've had, but obviously where football has been. I mean, that Tulane was pretty early in this, and the fan base here has kind of wrapped their arms around maybe not fully understanding what this era of college sports is right now, but knowing that this is where the eggs need to be.
John White, former pitcher for Gary Overton, Dr. Gary Overton, Coach O. He says David Pierce will get Rice going in the right direction. Will they get back to their glory days? Who knows with NIL right now?
Kyle, you got beat to the punch there. Sorry. But I would have been surprised if David Pierce took that job without a little bit of an assurance that investment was coming when he took it mid-season last year. And in the summer last year, Rice announced a pretty major push in investment. Not just NIL, but facilities-wise. They're redoing the football stadium there. There's a really – I don't know how strong the push will be, obviously. That's totally up to the fundraisers there of what they are able to do in that city. But I know that there is a drive to increase things there.
Hey, Dave, can I throw – before we get too far, Corey was talking about pitching, and I'm just curious. I don't even know if you can give this information out or not, but Trey, is he going to stay in the weekend rotation? I mean, he's getting hit really hard his last 4 or 5 starts. And if he does, is there a chance he goes to Sunday and JD moves up to Saturday?
I don't know where things sit with that. And if I did, I probably wouldn't say.
Yeah, I figured that. I just took a shot.
Yeah. Sahajic has struggled, and he has been the Friday guy. He got moved back a day to stay on regular rest for the Wichita series and didn't make it out of the 4th against Wichita. So that combined with the fact that, Tulane's had an injury in the weekend rotation here too. Jack Frankel's been the most consistent starter there. He hasn't gone the last 2 weekends. So they're hopeful that he is back this weekend. I'm not sure yet if he is. But they got 2 great performances out of, you mentioned JD Rodriguez, who has been kind of being spot Sunday starter and give us 3 innings sort of guy for a lot of the year. and he pitched great on Saturday against the Shockers. Then Jake Toporek got the opener in Wichita, and this was an all-conference starter at Wagner last year, and he's been kind of thrown into kind of lefty roles this season, and he totally locked Wichita State up. And so we'll see. I mean, I definitely think Toporek and Rodriguez have earned spots in the weekend rotation. We'll see if Frankel is back. And I know that like this team believes that Sahajic can be a legitimate force in the weekend rotation. I don't know where things sit with that moving forward. But I doubt we'll know until we arrive at the weekend.
Okay.
Corey, what is your thoughts? Jared, were you finished?
I just said appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, Corey, what are your thoughts on this year's Pirate baseball team? Obviously, we've had a lot of injuries to the pitching staff. I mean, just an insane amount of injuries to the pitching staff. The bats have really come alive over the last, 5 games or so. Really, before that, we were hitting the ball well against UTSA. Things just didn't go our way. But we're really hitting the ball well. The pitchers are doing enough. What do you make of this year's Pirate baseball team, particularly over the last, 7-8 games?
Well, averaging 12 runs a game here during this winning streak. And they let the rubber match go against UTSA. That should have been a series win after rallying to grab the lead there. I mean, this when Cliff Godwin's offense is humming, it is very hard to stop. And right now it's humming. And there's just so many ways that a Pirate lineup can cause problems and cause stress, chaos, and get things in motion on the bases and first to third and show and slash. And do you want to drop a bunt down or do you want me to flip this the opposite way? Now there's some power in there. What Lenahan's been able to do just across the board as a true freshman and being in the middle of that lineup is impressive. And so when this offense is performing the way it's been, it's kind of a pick your poison on how you try and figure out how to slow this down. And now there's always been flashes of pop, I would say, in Pirate lineups here, but there's more of it, I feel like, in this lineup than maybe at least in my time there, say for 1 year when you had a Packard and a Brickhouse and a Burleson in the middle of those orders. It's just, it's so hard to stop when this Pirate lineup is playing up to what they were brought in to play like. And that's what they're doing right now. And I think there's a ton of injuries in the rotation right now. And so maybe that's why there's been a little bit more of a bump in how this team has played its offensive attack, because they feel that maybe they need to score more runs here. Now, we haven't seen Charlotte yet. I was totally flabbergasted by just the size of these games and how they gave away Saturday and then gave away Friday and then no-showed on Saturday. We don't see Charlotte till late in the year. But it's a team, East Carolina, when they are playing like East Carolina, will just squeeze the life out of you. And that's what they've looked like here offensively the last week and a half or so.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And we needed it. We had to have it with the pitching situation. We hope it can continue, and then we get a couple guys back in that rotation by the end of the month. Tulane has been a place we have not played well over the years. So this is an interesting series this weekend. We've had all this momentum, but it's been at home. We haven't played bad on the road, though. But this winning streak has been at home, this beating Wilmington, sweeping Charlotte, then beating Duke. So it'll be interesting to see, can we keep it going down in New Orleans?
Well, and this is, coming off of Tulane getting swept at UAB, and they lost the last game in a walk-off. They had a 1-run lead in the 9th and gave up a 2-run shot. There was a real, I kind of called it an inflection point about what this team wanted the rest of the year to be like. And they went on the road and played great at Wichita State. So now they're coming back home against this team, and there are a fair number of guys who were on this team last year that were on the team 2 years ago. There's only one guy in the team here that was on the team 3 years ago. These matchups have always been fully joined. There's something about whether it's in New Orleans or Greenville or recently in Clearwater. these two just tend to just throw haymakers at each other. And so maybe it's just this goes back a ways, and just the fiery tempers that can flare in a weekend like this when Tulane and East Carolina meet. This is a critical weekend for Tulane because Tulane plays more road weekends than home weekends in conference this year. They just grabbed a road series, which is huge. But the home series for Tulane remaining are East Carolina, UTSA, and South Florida. And so these are like on the surface, big hitters that you're hosting here. And the last thing you want to do is have to lean on continuously going on the road and picking up series. Now, they go to Florida Atlantic, they go to Rice, they go to Charlotte. And so these are teams right now that haven't been exactly inspiring in the first 3 weeks of the year. So you look at those and say, well, maybe they can make their hay on the road. But these 3 series at home, to me, will tell the tale of just how Tulane will look at the end of May, whether they are in the bottom 4 of this group of 8 that makes Clearwater, that has to play a single elimination round, or whether they can get into the top 4. Holding serve at home for a team that has more road games and home games across the docket this year, especially with who the home matchups are with. It's paramount that Tulane puts their best foot forward this weekend when the Roadrunners are in town, then to end the home year with South Florida. Like they got to really play up to who's coming in, because they will get knocked around if they don't.
While we have a chance with you, are you guys done talking about baseball?
Are we?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I guess we're good with the series. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much.
Well, I haven't
heard a word from Alan. Hi, Alan.
Hi, I wanted to get baseball out of the way and talk to you about a couple other things, but we'll let Dave go first.
Well, yeah, I saw that. I did want to mention before we let you go, because I know we're at we're getting to be. It will be probably an hour by the time we get done.
We're 47 minutes in, Dave.
He's frozen. Dave is just frozen in disbelief.
47 minutes. And I frozen.
And just
especially right at the top of the screen. Frozen.
All right,
there he is. There he is.
I wanted to ask about the spring football game on. We have the same day. Just want to get.
Corey,
I think
Dave wants to know about spring football.
I think I know the crux of the question. So I'll take it with spring football and go from there. It's been interesting to come to some of these practices for Tulane and recognize a lot more guys than I'd had in previous springs, because the retention was pretty strong from last year's team. The big question is, and the fan base here, it's the primary question of, can Will Hall keep this going? And now that the bar is so high, I mean, this is the bar. This college football playoffs, the bar now here at Tulane. Is that realistic? Of course not. But 4 straight conference championship appearances is the bar. That's just where things are now. And so to see a very good amounts of last year's team back on the field here for this spring is a nice change of pace. And so just based off of that, the fact that Tulane has, from my eyes right now, just an absolutely stacked running back room. The linebackers are pretty much all back. You get those 2 rooms almost fully reloaded from guys from last year, and then 1 or 2 new pieces. And the backbone's already pretty well set with leaders on your club. Tulane has another quarterback battle. I don't think it will be as insane as last year's turned out to be, where they brought Jake Retzloff in the end of July. And he led them to a playoff. I would be surprised if that chaos happens again. Offensive line, defensive line, there will have to be some newcomers to step into the mix there. But there is a ton of last year's group that returns. And so on the surface, the potential is pretty frightening as we stand here in the first week of April as to what Tulane football can be in 2026. Now it's going to look different just based on it's a new coach. Will Hall runs a faster offense than John Summerall did. and there's some pieces to figure out and on the lines as to how Tulane will form here. But as I kind of said to Will Hall when I did my first sit down with him, Willie Fritz put a foundation in place, and then John Summerall constructed the scaffolding, and now Will Hall gets to come in and decorate the place. Like that, this is where things are now. And so I can't wait to see how this forms, but it has been pleasant to open up my roster and know like half of it, like more than half of it, because that just hasn't been the case here since I got here.
Well, so when you said that to Will Hall and you talked about, how Willie Fritz laid a foundation, like concrete, and then how, Summerall came in and built a scaffold, a big scaffold, just, that holds up everything around the foundation. And then you basically called Will Hall an interior decorator. Did he punch you?
No, and he agreed. I mean, like he knows he's walking into a really good situation. Like, I mean, he knows that flat out. He gets to put his spin on this, and win games like that. That's. I mean, the goal is 10 wins a year and playing in the first weekend of December. That is now Tulane football, and he knows he's walking into an extremely well-established program right now. And part of why he got hired is players on last year's team who are returning this coming year walked up to the athletic director's office and said, stop interviewing people that aren't Will Hall. Like, he's your guy. Like, the support for him was immense in that locker room. And that is why the retention is what it was. And so for a playoff team to have this much back despite a new coaching staff, and there's guys from last year's coaching staff that are still here, but it's a luxury in this day and age. No doubt about it that Tulane will walk into 2026 with some major aspirations because of just what has been retained here.
Yeah, and you guys, we lost a lot to the portal. Memphis lost a lot to the portal. South Florida lost a lot to the portal, and I think we all did pretty well in the portal, in all honesty. But you guys do have despite having a new head coach, he was the OC last year, so you have continuity. You keep continuity with your roster, which is extremely rare this year. Or this year in this day and age. So no, but the only question, Will Hall did not have much success as a head coach at Southern Miss. Southern Miss football has been up and down, to say the least, over the last decade. So he comes in a situation where the table's set for him. Particularly when you look around at, you guys are one of the few teams with a lot of guys returning on your roster that was good last year. When you look at the top of the league from East Carolina to Memphis to South Florida, everybody else pretty much lost their entire football teams, with East Carolina being the exception where we, retained our head coach, but we lost a shitload of assistants. So it's an interesting day in college football. And your point about continuity on the football team, it goes a long way because a lot of people, particularly early in the season, I would expect you guys to do really well early.
Well, and the other team that we haven't mentioned is North Texas, and that's the other one.
Yeah, you're right. That's another one.
We saw in the title game. I mean, there were a ton of teams that lost that their coaches left for SEC jobs or a Big 12 job.
North Texas lost a lot too.
And the rosters bled, except for this one. Now, we lost guys in the portal, no doubt about it. John Summerall only took 2 guys with him. It's our kicker and our punter. And I saw him at a Mardi Gras parade. He came back into town, and I stumbled upon him. So I was catching up with him, and I just kind of asked him, like, you only took 2 guys. And he was like, yeah, I told everyone I wasn't interested in bleeding this roster. Like, I want Tulane to be good. He made a $100,000 donation to the NIL fund before he left. Like, I mean, it's like he rewrote the playbook on how coaches should exit a job. Like, I mean, it was nuts. Now, having him coach a playoff game while also being in Gainesville, like, the calendar needs to change. Like, and it was draining on him, no doubt about it. But the fact that like he's a man of his word, and he meant like, hey, I'm not here to just like throw a wrecking ball into what has just happened here at Tulane. All right, American Conference Special Teams Player of the Year, come on over to Gainesville. Hey, our punter, call a conference selection, come on over to Gainesville. Everyone else, do what you want to do. But a lot of those guys stuck around.
When you say go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, you say the calendar needs to change. I've been saying the same thing, but I wonder what your idea is versus mine. My idea is move the portal to the end of the academic year in May, do away with spring ball entirely, start your camp at the end of June, 1st of July, and just have like an NFL-style system at that point. No spring ball, portal opens up in May, you report to camp at the end of June, 1st of July, and start camp, let's play football. What are your thoughts on changing the calendar?
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think that's unrealistic just based on how big college football's gone now, and just the operation where it is 12 months a year. Unfortunately, I think getting back to the portal did move, like it did move to January this year, but it was the high school signing day that caused the coaching chaos that we saw.
And it still was the same mess. Beyond you move to January, who cares?
Well,
I mean, it's still guys are opting out of bowl games. What's happened is the postseason, unless you do make the playoffs, the postseason with the portal being anywhere near bowl games, they're just going to keep getting more and more meaningless.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I don't know if I'm fine with that necessarily, but that's just where we've gone. You're kind of also, it was kind of in that position before all this happened anyway, to be honest. So I think that first signing day that was put in place by coaches to try and get early enrollees out of high school to come in for a spring semester for spring ball. I think now it needs to go back to that one signing day in February, which now kind of acts as the secondary one. And then you can sign guys after high school football's done, let them finish out their spring semester in high school and come in the summer and join the program there. In terms of the portal opening when it does in January, I mean, if you want to align it with what basketball just did and open it as soon as the championship game is over on this Monday night, and then 2,000 names are in the portal in the span of 12 hours, maybe, I don't know. I think waiting until a semester, the spring semester ends, and then rushing them in for summer camp that would have to be extended with no spring ball, that is unrealistic to me.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, we rush them in now to start the academic year. Well, you sign in January, and you have to rush them here in a 2-week time period or less to get them enrolled, and then they have to start winter workouts, and they have to go to spring ball. You scrap the spring ball. You're gonna have winter workouts with your current school. At the end of the academic year, the portal opens, so you have a month to sign them, and then you have a month to get them in here by the end of June, 1st of July. I don't know why that would be unrealistic. I'm not arguing with you. We just have different opinions on it.
Yeah, the pushback will be from coaches that they use spring to install all the game plan with this roster, and doing that on the front end, like in a June, and then getting camp started in July on top of it, and that the season will eventually start earlier than what it is right now. It looks like week 0 will eventually become week 1 because they want to move the playoff calendar up a little bit, all that sort of stuff. That'll get a resounding no from coaches, because that's however you want to quantify too much work for what we're talking about here in college football. That is too much in a short amount of time.
Corey, I did have a question. I know you're not at LSU, but you're still in the state of Louisiana. What were your thoughts on not only now you have Lane Kiffin, Kim Mulkey, and now Will Wade, which the state fans really got a raw deal, but just curious what you thought about that whole situation.
I don't know why my light went off. Sorry, I didn't touch it. I don't know why that happened. It's New Orleans infrastructure. I hope I'm still here. Yeah, listen, now what was, as the Lane Kiffin stuff was happening and our stuff was running alongside it, and we had people here in town that were asking John about LSU, but I think what people were fearing the most here was that, all right, if Lane leaves Ole Miss, that is where John will go because he coached at Ole Miss and he has some connection to Ole Miss. From what it kind of seems like, it took so long for Lane to make up his mind that Florida swooped in and got John Summerall. And so, I mean, listen, like, I wouldn't necessarily call how LSU has gone about these recent coaching changes clean. The Will Wade stuff after, you know, I don't think it's getting a ton of, certainly not as much publicity as the Lane Kiffin stuff did.
Right.
But listen, like when donors fork over the money, then eventually you're going to listen. And that happened there. That I don't think they care too much how it looked, how they've gone about bringing those two guys over in the last 4 months, because from their perspective, they hired pretty good coaches, fiery ones, unique ones, Kiffin more so than Wade, despite Wade's history at LSU. But the stuff that he was doing at LSU is now kind of legal. And so I was surprised that they made that move because from everything I was hearing here, it kind of seemed like that there was a desire to maybe change and get rid of Mac McMahon there. But in terms of just whether they had the financial ability to do it and who they were willing to go after, that was pretty quiet here up until it wasn't. And then it moved pretty fast. And so, listen, like LSU can go about however they want to go about doing their thing here, and Tulane will keep doing their thing here.
No doubt. And it was just so weird. Like the three coaches there, it's like, okay, all right, we get the whole winning. They are good coaches. But anyway, did want to ask you about MLB. By the way, Kyle has gone nuts over MLB in the last couple weeks.
I won't say go nuts, but I am following it more than I have in a long time.
Yeah, just want to get your thoughts. Do you think the lockout's imminent, or do you think there's any prayer that we won't have a lockout next year?
I think it's closer to imminent than not. I mean, it's like I actually don't have a ton of issue with the Dodgers throwing the money around that they have, because they're the ones doing it. Like, and if no one else is going to, or at least no one else is going to do it as effectively as they are, why are we hating the player here when the game is set up this way? And so, as a fan of a small market team who has succeeded despite not spending a ton of money, both willingly and unwillingly.
You're a Brewers fan?
I am.
Yeah. They're fun to watch, man. The way they are on the base pads.
Yeah.
They still a lot of bags. That's why they win. Yes. They have a style of baseball they play versus going after star players. They kind of do it the college way. They get guys that fit their system.
Yes. I remember talking to my dad last year as they were on their run, and I said they play ball like a really, really good college team.
Yes,
like,
they do. They're fun to watch.
Yeah,
because just getting back into Major League Baseball, being a Cubs guy, Cubs games have been putting me to sleep, and I'll watch the Brewers game, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to like this.
But that also, like, it only has, Tulane got to the NLCS last year and then got waxed. And so, like,
Tulane made the NLCS.
Now that is an achievement right there.
Indeed.
Yeah, the Brewers made the NLCS last year and then got waxed by the Dodgers. Who a bunch of Tulane alums run the Dodgers, actually. Andrew Friedman's a Tulane alum and all that stuff. Like the Tulane blood is all across the Dodgers organization right now. So I think it's going to happen just because you've got enough owners that are crying foul about how little money they're making and how much they are willing to spend, including the Brewers owner. And you got a commissioner that seems like he's trending in that direction as well. So I don't necessarily think it's a terrible thing. I obviously don't want things to quiet down in the baseball world for a long time, but I do think this model is not sustainable, especially if Major League Baseball wants to stop splintering their media outlets, and that all those are up in a couple of years, and that'll be part of this negotiation, and doesn't want to alienate, 16, 18 of their fan bases every year. I do think it's going to happen, and it might not be the worst thing to try and really address head on the structure that exists right now. Not necessarily to make things fair and equitable, but get things a little bit more on the same plane. And that's all, not necessarily just, all right, you have to spend this amount of money and create a salary floor. You got people that are barely doing that, and NHL has that, and they're barely doing that just to kind of get by. So I think it's going to happen unless things really change as the year goes. But I think the worst thing that probably could have happened is the Dodgers signing Kyle Tucker, and then that starts off the powder keg, and it's like, all right, well, we're going to bring in this guy and bring in this guy, and we're going to spend $1 billion on our roster. Tough. If they go out and win the World Series again this year, then I think you can pretty much lock in a lockout.
Yeah, the Dodgers don't even have the highest payroll in Major League Baseball this year. The Mets do. But they're both over $400 million. And it's funny to me, I use the Nationals example as our regional team. Their roster this year is $86 million compared to over $400 million for the Dodgers and Mets. It's insane.
And it's not always just we can't spend this much money. There is a choice for all these organizations about how they're spending their money. I like the team that I always think of here is San Diego, who they do spend a ton of money, and they're a very small market. And then you have some major market teams like a White Sox that choose not to spend, more money. Even the Cubs didn't spend money for a while until the last 2 years. And so there's choices and decisions being made by ownerships around Major League Baseball, but there is also a system set up to have that exploited. And I think that's the thing that's going to get more addressed than anything.
And Corey, one of the other things too to mention is for people not following the story is the local television money and the television deals has just pretty much it's gone. And I think that's another thing is that
they're going direct to consumer is what they're doing, and it's already happening, and they're going to go more and more that direction.
Yeah, I think that needs to get condensed. I mean, I kind of touched on it. There are like 8 national media outlets now that air baseball games. This on the heels like the NBA changed all of their partners, and we're getting ready for the playoffs, and I still struggle to tell you where games are going to be coming up next week for playoffs here. And so, and I know the national TV deals, a lot of them are up in 28. And so like that on top of Major League Baseball wants to bring all the regional broadcasts in-house, where a lot of teams are going now, like the Brewers just went in-house and are run by Major League Baseball.
Almost everybody is at this point.
Yeah, it's about half the league at this point that's getting there. And so, like, I think we're heading in that direction as well. But it's that on top of just the blackouts that exist. Like, it's
I hate it.
Yeah,
well, like for Eastern North Carolina, for example, our regional baseball teams are the Brewers, the Orioles, and the Nationals. Well, all right. So if you don't have Masson, and if you don't have Dish Network, DirecTV, or a traditional cable provider, you don't have Masson. It's not carried by streaming services. So what you have to do, if you want to watch the Orioles and the Nats games, you have to subscribe to them individually as your local teams for $100 a year. And then if you want to watch all the other games for MLB TV, then you have to pay another $150 to stream all the out-of-market games. So if you really are diehard and want to watch everything, even your local teams, and you don't, for this market, and you don't have access to Masson, you're screwed. You're going to end up spending a lot of cash.
I remember when I lived in Winston-Salem, and I went in on MLB TV with my roommate at the time. He was a Yankees fan. And that part of the state is blacked out of Orioles and Nationals, but they're also blacked out of Braves and Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, my God. The Reds?
Yeah. And so
wow.
That was an in-division opponent for the Brewers. So every time they played the Reds, I couldn't watch them. Then if they ever played the Nationals or the Braves, which they did a couple times a year, I couldn't watch them either. And so it's just it's antiquated. A lot of stuff about Major League Baseball is antiquated.
Yeah, I agree.
Good moves here of late. things need some changing.
Yeah, they Corey, I was going to say the '80s called, and they want the blackouts. I mean, that is
ridiculous. Blackouts
ridiculous.
now is ridiculous. It's beyond pointless. I mean, and what the hell am I going to do? I mean, I live in LaGrange, North Carolina. It's 4 hours to DC, 5 hours to Baltimore. I'm supposed to go up there for every game. I mean, what the hell? A blackout? It's just idiotic. And you're right about the TV partners for the national games. I mean, you got Peacock, you got Apple TV, you got Fox, you got NBC's Peacock, the same thing. It's just all over the damn place. I think Turner, I think TBS and TNT, they got some games. I mean, it's just all over the place. Way too many partners.
Another to add, I know that Kyle doesn't like Major League Soccer, but one of the things I love about Major League Soccer is the fact that being on Apple, you can pay a certain amount a year, and there's no blackouts. I can watch every single. I don't because I don't have the time, but I love Charlotte FC. But still, the fact that if I wanted to watch a match outside of Charlotte, then I can watch anything I want. The fee is not bad, $75 to $100, and the fact that baseball should do the same thing.
Why did I get singled out for not liking MLS?
I'm on the board with that, Kyle.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
JR doesn't like it either.
No, not one bit.
I bet Alan Vick doesn't either.
I watch it a little bit, not a lot.
Well, I should have known, Alan.
I will say this in defense of MLS, it's much better in person, but I don't have the time, money, all that to go to Charlotte every time I want to, or DC with DC United, whatever. I don't have time to do all that. So it is nice to have it where you can pay one fee and you get any game you want. I mean, every sport. My point is, I'm not trying to make you guys soccer fans. I'm just simply saying they've got it right.
Hey, Dave, the last game you watched, was the final score 1-0 or 1-0? I'm just curious.
No, actually, it was 0-0. It was
that's exciting stuff.
Great.
That wasn't that. I'll tell you guys off the air. That wasn't the complaint. Well, I'll just go ahead and say it. I was very angry for the fact that I took my kids, and we talk about this with NBA. I took my kids to see Charlotte FC, but they were playing Miami, and Messi didn't even come on the trip. He didn't even play. So I paid a lot of money for Messi not being there.
Put Kenny Curlin's comment up there.
He'd rather watch cornhole on ESPN. I watch cornhole.
I'm with you.
Yep. Speaking of ESPN, have you guys seen the latest documentary on the birth of ESPN? I've seen several others, but this one is worth a watch. It debuted back on Monday night. There's a lot of things in that documentary I did not realize, and if you can find it, it's called Sports Heaven: The Birth of ESPN.
All right,
Thanks, Alan. I'll definitely check that out.
It's well worth a watch if you can find it.
There's something we can agree on.
Yeah.
But Corey, with that very thing, I wanted to let's see. I did have one. Kenny asked, "What kind of crowd are you expecting for ECU Tulane this weekend?"
We've been pretty steady in the right around the 1,800, 2,000 range for most of our games. The weather looks beautiful. There are one or two festivals happening this weekend, which might take some of folks away from the ballpark and go to that instead. But I mean, we're going to be sitting right around 80 for all three of these games with very, very small chance of rain. It looks like on Saturday, and that'd be in the afternoon. So the weather is going to be perfect for these games. So hopefully that brings some folks out. I know we're doing this big like merchandise equipment sale before Friday's game, and that usually brings out a huge crowd. And so we'll see. We haven't tacked it on before a baseball game before, so hopefully that, like, you have to have a ticket to the game to go in and even buy anything. So that ideally will bring out a good amount of folks. But we've been pretty steady in terms of what our attendance has been. In the last two home games we've had, Paul Giamatti has shown up. Because he's filming a movie here in town, and his dad used to be the commissioner of baseball. And he just showed up, didn't call ahead, just bought a ticket and was sitting there and watching ball games. So, and we're 2-0 with him in attendance. So if he's here this weekend, he might be our good luck charm. But yeah, hopefully the crowds. We've been pretty steady all year, and the weather looks great. So hopefully they're pretty good.
All right. Well, Corey, thank you, man. But before we let you go, can you tell us about your socials and how people can listen to you on this weekend?
No.
There you go.
Yeah, on Twitter X at Corey Gloor, same on Instagram, and Varsity Network app is still the outlet for where you can find me outside the greater New Orleanian area. If you feel like tapping back into your old friend Corey this weekend, you may not like the tone of the broadcast, but here I am still saying hello.
I listen on WRBH a lot.
Yeah, the TuneIn app, that's our flagship. That's also on there. TuneIn, WRBH, their website as well. Yeah, I mean, there's ways to find me if you're for some reason still missing this bag of bones.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people that do miss you, man. It's great to see you. I know I can speak for the rest of the guys. Thanks for coming on. And the night you started, 2 days later, I was your engineer for 3 years, and I told our general manager that following Monday, I said, this guy is going places. He's going to be something. He's fantastic. And you were great to work with, and you're doing great work at Tulane. And I'm just, I'm proud of you. And there's a lot of East Carolina fans that are very proud of you. And we miss you, but we know you're doing well, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Well said.
That was incredible, Alan. Thank you. And for my first board op, calling games in college here, before we went on the air, admittedly, we've already talked about my hazy memory I forgot about what the station was when you and I first working together, Beach Boogie and Blues.
Yeah.
And having to get on the phone with you to know when to get back from commercial breaks, and things updated since, and stations change and all that. But yeah, you welcomed me into this little industry that we call college broadcasting here, Alan. So I will always appreciate that. And you were on the what was it? The Virginia, regional, oh God, see memory. Travis Watkins, the walk-off in the regional.
Yeah.
So you were back there for that, and then the super regional that year in Lubbock.
Yep.
So yeah, you were with me for my very first ride, Alan, and the next couple after that.
There was a lot of late nights.
Yes.
Double headers, rainouts, that sort of thing.
A lot of those, I feel like, yeah.
And Corey, Jamie thanks you because he was at the station and not worrying her at home. So
that's correct.
Yes, we spent many a lovely night together, Alan.
Yes, we did.
You, me, and Coach O.
Yep, I tell you what, Coach O's. By the way, before you go, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Jeff Charles.
Yeah,
who was such a mentor to you and to all of us. He's been gone now about 3.5, little over 3 years, and we miss him a lot. And I know he was very kind to you, Corey, as he was to me.
Yep. And my first year there, I didn't actually get to meet him in person because he was off battling cancer for the second time. And so I didn't actually get a face-to-face with him until right around my second year, that 17 season. And from that point on through my time in Greenville, and even when I was here in New Orleans, that man was the very best to me in many, many ways. And every time I'm back in Greenville, or when I see ECU in some capacity, whether it's that jersey, whether it's a team, whether it's just a friend from back in that neck of the woods, I always think of that guy and what he was, and how high he set the bar for people who are doing this for a living.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well said. Corey, thank you, man, very much. We will be listening. I know Alan and I will tune in. Love to hear the broadcast. And
you guys gonna get together and do it? You're gonna hang out, grab some pizza, and listen?
Actually, I will be listening. I have some racing obligations this weekend, but I'll definitely catch you on Friday and Sunday for sure.
You'll watch your copy of the 1997 ECU Wake Forest game, mute it, and then listen to me. Oh, sorry, Kyle. They have one. They've had one for years.
Yeah,
Wow.
I can't. It's a secret that I have one. I can't tell Kyle.
Yeah.
Well,
You didn't do it, Alan. He's gonna sell it on eBay.
That's right.
Well, I'll buy it.
Right. Corey, thanks so much, brother. Appreciate you so much, and we'll let you go. But looking forward to having you back on in the summertime to talk Tulane football.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, bro. See you later.
Bye.
All right, guys. It's Wednesday night, and we did that for Corey. He had already. I was looking at Thursday, but he texted me back and said that was pretty much booked. And I said, "Well, how about Wednesday?" And so there you go. Appreciate him very much. Just wanted to talk to you guys, do a roundtable, and I don't know how long you guys have, but certainly.
I'm going to have to dip here in a second. I need to eat a really late dinner.
All right, I got to do that too. I haven't eaten as well. But anyway, I had training in Tarboro for the town. So commissioner duties. And then.
Did you train the town?
No, I didn't.
Man, Tarboro's not in Martin County.
No, they had.
No, he was training Tarboro how to be more like Martin County.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
They had a water and sewer training today. There.
Well, I'm not hearing somebody, I don't guess.
Did you happen to run into any Ninja Turtles?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. Who don't you hear, Alan?
Hello.
Me. He doesn't hear me.
I'm not hearing anybody but you, Dave.
Oh well.
Anybody else saying
Corey took Kyle and I with him.
I'm not hearing anybody but you.
All right. Well, come back in.
I'll back out. I'll back out gracefully and come back in.
All right.
Well, guys, I really don't have much more to talk about here. We've kind of covered everything. It was a hell of a win last night over Duke. Glad to keep the momentum going. That was a fun game to watch. Always good to be the in-state opponent, an ACC team, and get into conference play this week. Need to take love to sweep Tulane. Need to take 2 out of 3, and then come back home. And next week it's the Wolfpack. So, things are looking up for Pirate baseball. Hope it continues with the positive momentum. And guys, I'm gonna bow out and eat my pizza. And JR, Dave, you guys keep holding it down. Whoop whoop, nothing but love.
We'll try.
What kind of pizza are you having, by the way?
It is 3 meat DiGiorno frozen pizza. We ate out for lunch, so eating at home tonight, and I was not hungry. If I eat a big lunch, I should just eat a big lunch every day and not eat dinner. I'd lose weight that way. But we ate out for lunch, had a big lunch, so we weren't hungry until late. So just frozen pizza, DiGiorno.
I can't.
It's
spell
not
DiGiorno.
delivery. It's DiGiorno.
I can't spell DiGiorno, but I like it.
Yeah, it's decent.
It
not
is.
bad.
Good
All right,
crust.
guys, y'all be good.
Right.
Go
Later,
Pirates.
Kyle.
All right.
See you, man.
See you, Kyle.
Later. All right, guys. I did want to mention that we do have.
Again. Back out.
All right. What's going on? What just happened?
Hey, can you? Yeah, he's going to have to back out and come back in. Johnny, while we have a chance, I want to mention this for the Ronald McDonald House. We're doing days of service. That's with the ECU Alumni Association people
Awesome.
that are
great cause.
So this right before the spring game. So as we bring Alan Vick back in, it's right before the spring game, and you can go there and help us out. And we will. I don't have a link. I'll have to get that link. But if anybody's interested, hit me up on social media, or you can email me at thesportsobj@gmail.com. But that's something that's really big right now that we've got going on the 18th. And then let's see. Oh, I'm trying to get the other one for you guys. We do have the tailgate. I did want to mention to you guys. So, yeah, let me see if I can bring that up in here.
That's South Florida, right?
Yep, it's Saturday the 25th, and just like with you guys, we're gonna try to be right beside you guys tailgating with Josh, Johnny, and Brian Dilday and Jared and all those guys. They're so awesome. And
Josh Thomas, Todd Vivra.
I know
Tiffany.
I told you guys I actually met Justin Butts in person last night for the first time.
Yeah, that was a shock to me. I felt like
I never met Justin personally, but we had a nice 10 or 15 minute conversation. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. I like him a lot.
Yeah. Justin and I go way back. We go back all the way to December. So that's when I first met him. And I agree with you 100%. It's someone you can truly count on as a friend to like get your back.
Yeah. Well, you and I have had just a brief meeting at Greggy and the Jets, last
I'm
year.
not even going to call that. That wasn't even an official meeting.
That's right. That was just because I was so nervous around you, Johnny. I couldn't speak. So,
well, I'm going down to the racetrack. I'm definitely going to make it, especially after baseball season's over. And I have those die casts for you. For the Hut
I've got
Circuit
something
City
for
car.
you too. I'm going to give you, if you want them, you're welcome to them. All my football and baseball press guides for the last number of years.
Oh my goodness!
If you're interested, if you're interested in those, you're welcome to them.
Oh, absolutely, Alan. They take up less space than these diecasts. My wife is I literally have 100 of them, and she's like, "Dude, you gotta get rid of these." And so you and I can talk about maybe a good way for me to purge, some of these to somebody that would appreciate them.
Yeah, but I'll be more than happy. The physical, press guides, the books that they gave out.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah, they stopped doing it after COVID. But everything's online now. But
wow, that's very, very nice of you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you for the diecast.
No problem.
And by the way, the 25th, we were talking about that. I've got that graphic now up on the screen. For those listening, the ENC chapter, we're doing Alumni Day tailgate. It's going to be, as I was saying, right near all the guys. You can't miss this because in the premium lot this year, because there's no jungle lot right now with this construction, Josh Thomas and all those guys, what you talked about with Jared, Brian Dilday, Johnny, the Ponds. I mean, there's a whole bunch of great people, cool people there. We're going to literally be beside them. And that'll be at 1:30 on Saturday, the 25th. The game is first pitch is at 4 p.m. The tailgate tickets are only $6 to eat with us and maybe some beverages. And I can say that. And then it's only $4. We have $4 jungle tickets, guys. You can't even go to a movie for what, 10 or 12. I don't even know what the movie cost is now.
Oh God, it's way more than $4.
Yeah. I'll come out on my way to Carteret. That's a race weekend for me, but I don't have to leave town, that early, so I can definitely come by for a little while before I head out to the racetrack.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested, just email me thesportsobj@gmail.com. We would love to have you, and certainly, guys, we've been talking a lot, but really proud of the baseball team. I tell you, I'm just so excited. 5 in a row, and I guess we're the most positive of the of the Sports Objective crew, with a glass half full, not half empty. But I just want to get your take on going into the series. I forgot to ask Kyle, and we'll get out of here. What do you think about as far as the series with Tulane? Are you going 2 out of 3? Are you sweeping 1 out of 3, 0 out of 3? What you got?
Me, we're 1-5 the last 2 seasons, and it's a house of horrors for us.
With Tulane, you're talking about?
Yeah. So I wanted to sweep. I thought we might go 3-1, but I called for I wanted to sweep last week. We got it, so I think we have a little bit of room to go down there and go 2-1. Especially since we just beat Duke. So I'm going to say, 2-1. We're going to definitely win the Friday game. And then we'll split the Saturday, Sunday game. And hey, those 5, we have 5 wins in a row, 5 North Carolina teams. That makes it triple special. We took out 5 teams from North Carolina, or 3 teams. 5
we got to get that Campbell. We got to get that Campbell win.
Oh my goodness. I have a feeling they'll cancel that game, but this season might be different because Campbell has a decent RPI. It would probably help us if we could win that game. Normally it's a loser either way, win or lose, but this season is probably different. So I hope we play that game, and I hope we get even with them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll see what we can get out of there. Alan, what are you thinking? Are you going sweep, or you think 2 out of 3?
My heart says 2 out of 3, but I agree with Johnny. It's been a house of horrors in New Orleans for us, for the last few years, and Tulane is dangerous. They're playing pretty decent baseball right now. If we take 2 out of 3, I'll be more than satisfied.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going 2 out of 3?
I'll go 2 out of 3, but I'm just, 2 out of 3. The glass is half full.
Yeah, that's what I'm going, guys. Is 2 out of 3. I want to go sweep, but that's asking. That's a talk. Not that we can't do it, but just like basically what y'all have already said. And I think we'll go 2 out of. And look, if we go 2 out of 3, that means we went 3-1 this week and 4-0 last week, and we'll take it. We'll take it.
Yeah.
Not that we like to lose, but on the road, 2 out of 3 is really good. And considering our history, we'll leave that in the
I agree, but I want to. There's a caveat to my 2 and 3 weekend.
Okay.
I'm hoping that we sweep for one reason, for our RPI status, but also so that nobody has to interview Cliff after a loss. That's becoming increasingly a challenge, and I just feel like, me, Alan, nobody is more positive than you are. And I'm taking a back seat to you, but I'm pretty positive myself, and I've always been a huge Cliff fan, and I love him to death, and I'm so happy that we have him. But man, he needs to seriously. I don't want to be like so rudimentary to say chill out, but he needs to just relax a little bit. We won the game. Answer a darn question without attacking somebody.
He actually did great. He did great this past Saturday, and asking the question with you guys about mental toughness and about it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it's talk about the players, and he said also the coaches, and he was talking about how he gets emotional, and
but you didn't ask him about Grady Linehan bunting like Stephen Igo did. That's the thing. And he was prepared. You could tell he knew that question was coming from somebody, because it was a controversial call, and I will never second guess him, because he's done things that no other coaches have done, so he obviously knows what's going on. But Grady, if you'll remember, after Xavier, he popped out a bunt in his first college at bat, and then did it again a couple of weeks later, and so he's just not our best bunter. He has a problem getting the bat too high. He pops out a lot of bunts, and we had bases loaded and him up, and we bunted, and he popped out. Luckily, we won the game. I thought Stephen Igo had every right to ask that question, and I'm glad that he did, because I was interested in the answer myself. So anyhow,
Igo's probably the only one that could get away with asking that question.
Absolutely,
and not covering up.
No, he's not, because he's earned that respect, because he's Stephen Igo.
Yeah, he's definitely earned it. I've interviewed everybody like Dave has you can possibly think of, and I'm not intimidated by Cliff. That's not the right word, but you just kind of gotta. When you ask that question, you kind of gotta, make sure that you're ready for the response.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Cliff's cab?
Yeah, and it was so cool when they were doing that.
Okay, so why can't we have that guy as our head coach?
Yeah.
Why can't that guy be our head baseball coach? The guy that drives the golf. Yeah. Cliff, that's Cliff. He must just. I think, Bub and I had this conversation earlier, and I just hope that I'm not putting anything out there that you guys object to. If I do, I apologize. Because I'm not being negative at all. It's just an observation that I feel like he thinks the fans are against him way more than they are. Because I don't know anybody against him personally in my inner circle. I don't know anybody that's against Cliff. But it seems to me like he's got some kind of chip on his shoulder where he thinks that fans are just ready to pounce on him at every mistake. And I don't think that's the way it is. But
there are some, and I think that it's one of those things where you look at the first Duke game, with the walk-off, and then the walk-off with was it UTSA. And you have that in 1 week. There was a lot of stuff, and then you have a lot of injury. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on, that it's out of everybody's control, including Cliff, and he's extremely competitive. And I
that's
think
the big thing, Dave. You're right. He's very competitive.
And on top of that, he's already competitive. But he mentioned when I asked the question, he said in 23 years of coaching, he's never had 2 walk-offs in the same week. And so there's been some crazy stuff that, you hear the cliche, the way the ball bounces. But I tell you what, I'll take that guy any day of the week. And Alan and Johnny, we've talked about it. But when Alan says it's like you got to read the room, but also if you ask a really dumb question, he's going to give you hell for it. And
but that wasn't a dumb question this time.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay. And he likes to play with Igo. I mean, he and Igo have a good relationship, and he likes to mess with Igo. You can tell he likes to mess with Igo. And there are a few that have been doing it long enough, and he knows them. Obviously, he likes to mess with Brian Bailey as well, and he likes to mess with Igo. I mean, in a good way. I don't mean in a bad way. I mean in a joking manner.
No. I'm going to drop that subject because it's just I don't feel comfortable speaking to it because it sounds like I don't appreciate Cliff, and I do, and infinitely.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all appreciate. We understand that he's very competitive. I mean, let's be honest, he's very high strung, and a lot of coaches are that way. But the way he's done things for so long has been so successful. And I just got a feeling if Cliff saw us in the mall, and I know Cliff Godwin never goes to the mall, I'm pretty sure. But if he saw us, at a movie or at the mall, he'd be a very different Cliff Godwin than what you see. Yeah,
no doubt.
He's not.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just going to say that. He's a charitable person. He's got the program in the right direction. And you know what? When you're looking at a situation where your butt's on the line on wins and losses, and on top of that, I think there's a drive that he has to get us, and to get us to Omaha. If you remember, not to bring up a sore subject, but he's talked about it. In Kinston, he was the last batter against Tennessee in the Super Regional. Yeah. And that's when Cliff Godwin when Keith LeClaire told him, if this is the worst thing that ever happens into your life, you'll have a really good life. That's not pretty much paraphrasing what he said in the locker room. But so Cliff has not only the fact that happened to him, but also the fact this is alma mater. He's done a really good job with, look how many programs want Cliff Godwin. So for me, what I do is not that I'm ignoring it, but I think that it's kind of like the toughest part for him is when you have a really bad thing to happen in a game and you're getting raw. On top of that, when there's been people have asked some really dumb questions,
No, I get it.
And they say they don't read social media. They do.
How else would you know that there's people out there that are detractors?
There's no way that you could keep those kids from looking at social media, and there's no way as a baseball coach and a human being that you don't see and hear some of the really, really the people that you never can please, no matter what you do. They're being critical, so they say they don't hear that and it doesn't bother them. You're not human if that doesn't bother you.
Of course. And it's not fair. And I'll say this, the fans need to do a better job of, there's a difference between constructive criticism and just being flat out cruel. And if you're truly a pirate, you can be like us where we have, our opinions. However, I have not stopped rooting for this school. I've been pulling for the school since 1986, 40 years as a fan. Been a coach as far as coaching in the high school level. I have done a lot of different things, including the media. And so different angles is what I'm trying to say. And I love the school. I'll fight for the school, whatever we have to do. I have 2 kids that are probably near Alan Vick there, not too far from Alan Vick's house, Uncle Alan's house. But seriously, both of them want to go to East Carolina. So legacy recruits. So you know what? The one thing I can tell you is that I don't want Cliff to leave. If he does leave,
no, he's not going anywhere.
No, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just simply saying it like this. If he leaves, if he ever leaves, he will definitely leave it better than he found it. And that's no knock to Billy Godwin, but he's taken it to levels that consistently. And so
I would say if he ever leaves, it won't be to go to another school. It'll be to retire and enjoy the rest of his life. I mean, that's how I feel.
Yeah, because he's still a young guy. What is Cliff? 50, 49, 50, something like
I
that?
don't know.
49.
He's still a young guy. He's got a lot of great years ahead of him, a lot of coaching ahead of him. You know, he's a man of faith now. He's a newly married guy. I don't know if they have any interest in starting a family at some point. I have no clue there, but there's a lot more important things, and he's going to learn as he gets older. And I know he's going to learn there's a lot more important things in life than baseball games.
Yeah. I think he already knows that, but certainly it'll be more obvious when he is end his. I don't want him to end his coaching career, so I don't want people to go back.
And the positives outweigh the negatives with Cliff 20 to 1 easily. So yeah. Is it aggravating sometimes to watch that happen in a post game? Absolutely. Did that bother me a few weeks ago when that happened? Yes. But if that's the worst thing that happens at East Carolina, you know, with the baseball program, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
No doubt. All right, guys.
No, Dave, no, we can't. This Duke game is going to be lost forever to the history dustbin. I just want to give a couple of shout outs.
Okay.
Well-deserved shout outs because, you know, we're never going to talk about this game again. So we should just give it a couple of minutes. First of all, Ryan Towers with his start and Luke Payne with his start midweek is just really, really opening up some doors. Like it's just showing us that, hey, you know, all is not lost with this pitching staff. If Ryan Towers could go into the sixth inning, deep into the sixth inning, without giving up a hit and with only walking 3 people, 5 strikeouts, that is huge. And you know what? He just looked different. But regardless of what people are saying, he has not been in a slump. He's had 2 or 3 really, really good outings, and he's had a couple of bad outings. But I really feel like he's finding himself. He's finding his confidence. And if we can count on him for 4, 5, 6 innings, that's a game changer. And I also, Sean Jenkins, I would just put this out there to him. Please, we appreciate you closing out these games and getting saves. Could you please quit making us bite over our nails off with putting guys on base and then getting out of a jam? Because he's really good at getting out of jams. But I don't know how much more I can take of it with my fingernails. And but he's awesome to have, you know, to depend on to come in and close things out. He makes it interesting sometimes, but he got save number 5. So, you know, pitching wise, I'm feeling better about and GVK is probably coming back in the next couple of series. So I'm just feeling really better about pitching. And I wanted to say that Colby Wallace, 0 for 3 against Duke, going into the 8th inning, he smashes a double. So now Colby has got a 9-game hitting streak, coming off of a 12-game hitting streak. He had 1 game where he didn't get a hit. So now he's hitting 21 of his last 22 games. Nobody else. He has the 2 longest hitting streaks of the year. Both of them are Colby's. And so I think he gets overlooked sometimes. And I just feel like we're going to be seeing Colby on the mound too. It's just, you know, it's probably inevitable. I know we don't want to lose his glove at third base, but also Grady Linehan. He did pop out that sack bunt, but before that, he was 2 for 2 with a double and a single and got hit by pitch twice. So now he's got 14 hit by pitches. So he's entering like Kyle Roller territory. And I know like Jacob Starling got hit a lot as well, but not like Kyle Roller. And and now Grady, I don't know what he's doing. It's like him and Jack Herring have the same amount of at bats, essentially. Grady's been hit 14 times, and Jack's been hit once. So I don't know if I would be interested in learning the dynamics there. Is it something that Grady just is really good at getting hit, or if Jack is really good at not getting hit, but Jack makes up for it in walks. He has like 27 walks. So it's not I'm not, no disrespect to Jack. He's getting on base his own way. But I just wanted to throw that out there with those players. Everybody's, I don't know, Alan, Dave, I just feel good. Now, we might score 2 runs, one of these games. Hopefully not, but I don't think that'll change the way I feel going forward.
For me, Ryan Towers is one of the best stories of the season.
Absolutely.
Well, when you look back on this season, what Ryan did last night against Duke is going to be one of the moments of 2026.
Yeah, I mean, he went 5.2 without a hit. So last season against Wichita State, Ethan went 5.1, but then, Ethan did have that just once in a lifetime, or once, maybe not once in a lifetime, but once in a season, six innings of no hit ball against Coastal Carolina. But, Ryan was right there with him. Didn't have quite, as many strikeouts, but who cares if you're getting batters out and, not walking a lot of people. I think he had 3 walks. So we got a lot to look forward to, gentlemen, in my opinion.
Yep. Go ahead, John.
No, I was just saying there's a lot to look forward to. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, I was going to say when Corey was on, my mind was going back. Corey was the in the booth when who was it that threw the no-hitter against Maryland?
Jake.
That was Carson Wisenhunt, wasn't it?
No.
I shouldn't. I'm sorry. I put you on the spot, guys. I should have.
2019. Hold on. I'll get it to you in just a second.
Yeah, he was.
We had a 7-inning no-hitter with 3 very unlikely candidates against Elon. And those 3 pitchers were
Jake Kuchmaner.
That's
right.
Yes.
That was a. I go back and listen to some of those old broadcasts every once in a while, and that Maryland no hitter, and there were so many great moments, for that 3 years I was with Corey, and then afterwards, after I was not involved with engineering anymore. He's such a good guy. He's a pro, and to me, he's one of the top 5 baseball voices, certainly in college baseball. I would not be at all surprised one day to see Corey Gloor with a major league team. That would not surprise me at all.
No.
At all. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
I think he's on that path. I really believe that.
Well, maybe it's when we get a team in Charlotte that he'll.
Yeah,
they are expanding, guys. They're going to put 2 teams, one from the East and one. It's down to Charlotte or Nashville for the Eastern team, and the Western team is Salt Lake City or Portland.
Is it so? Raleigh's out.
I didn't see Raleigh in there. I wanted to be Raleigh really bad. Yeah.
They've proven that they can support a major league franchise.
Yeah, I think that makes sense though, guys, because that helps us save a lot of the major minor league teams when you do that. I selfishly I want Raleigh, but you think about the Durham Bulls, you think about the Warbirds. There's a whole bunch of teams that we have, the Bird Dogs in Kinston. There's so many teams that if you have in the western part of the state to have the major league team, you're going to be saving a whole bunch of minor league teams. That's my gut feeling. I would rather for it to be in Raleigh because Alan, myself, Johnny, we can carpool, go to a game, and be back. Like the Hurricanes, you can go there and be back in no time.
Yeah, Raleigh used to be an all-day trip when you were a kid, and now you can scoot up to Raleigh, be there in like an hour and 23 minutes, and be home before the 11 o'clock news.
Yeah, Yeah. Hey, so where I was going with that, I was talking about the last no hitter was a 7-inning no hitter, but I was disappointed in some of our fans, just giving Jaden Winter the business in the bullpen. I didn't feel comfortable with it. He was probably asked to leave, to be honest with you. It's not like he just said, "Hey, I'm going to play for Charlotte." I just feel like. I don't know. I didn't like the way that he was being treated, but our last no hitter, Jaden Winter, went 4 full innings, no hits, 5 strikeouts, and then Chris Kaler came in for 2 innings, no hits, 3 strikeouts, and then Parker Thomas finished it off with the final inning.
Yeah, I would hope that those that engaged with Jaden were mostly positive. I hope so.
Not from what I saw, but his mom was there in our tailgate.
If anybody's doing that and did that, you're a jerk. I'm sorry.
I agree, Alan. I agree.
And there's a better word for it, but I won't use it. But if you're giving that young man a hard time for making a career decision about his future and going to Charlotte, you're a piece of human feces. If you are negative to that young man for any reason at any time when he is here in Greenville or anywhere.
Well, I set a few people straight. I'll tell you that.
That's it. And I appreciate you doing that. And these are grown-ups. And I know there were some college kids probably giving them a hard time, but some of these were supposed grown-ups. And people, if you did that in any way, shape, or form for any reason, you should be ashamed of yourself. And you're a colossal waste of oxygen.
Yeah. So one of them said to me, "Okay, so what's your favorite Jaden Winter memory?" I said the no hitter. Yeah. I said that was outstanding. That was awesome.
I'd have said because he wore the uniform and represented the university with class.
Yeah, exactly.
Dignity while he was here and shut up.
But they were like they didn't even know that he had done that. It's like, So
anyway, there you got a bunch of peckerheads no matter where you go. And that's just part of it.
We have the lunatic fringe.
It's just part of it, man. And just ignore it and support your team and love the Pirates. And hopefully next time we're talking on Sunday, we're going to be talking about a great weekend in Nolens. And this team is certainly on an upward trajectory. And we got a lot to look forward to and a lot to be proud of.
Yeah. I'm a bit nervous. I must tell you all, going into the Tulane series, but we do have the superior team. We do. So let's just hope. I'm hoping 2-1.
Yeah,
let's get it done.
I'm with you.
All right, guys. Well, it's Wednesday night. We're going to go camping this weekend. So the kids are on spring break. So I will definitely see you back Sunday night, and we'll have our hopefully good news to talk about with our great show, Extra Innings, we've been doing since 2019. We'll get out of here. Thank you so much.
Hold on a minute, Dave. Where are you going? I got to know where you're going camping. I got to know.
It's local Green Acres.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's a great. I went there many times as a kid. Yeah. That's a great place.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a night, TSO night. I'll invite you guys. Maybe we can do it.
We should do a camping. I love camping. I do. I got all the gear.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, man. We need to do a TSO camp. We'll build a fire and.
I want you to come back sunburned, mosquito bitten, and
we'll spray you down, Alan.
I want you to come back with the farmer's tan and all that.
All right. Thank you all. Appreciate both of you.
Yeah, same here, Johnny. Always fun, man. Thank you for everything.
Thank you to our special guest, Corey Gloor, the play-by-play voice of Tulane. Of course, our great friend, Kyle from LaGrange, Alan, Johnny, and we'll see you again Sunday night at 8, Extra Innings here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody. And as always, go Pirates.
You're watching the Sports Objective, the podcast for Pirates.